Hey guys, this is Travis Glider, Extension Weed Scientist at the University of Kentucky. Today we're looking at trial 20-17 at the Caldwell County Research Site. This is our water hemp research site. It is 5 miles away from our Princeton, Kentucky UK rec location. This site again is primarily or almost exclusively water hemp, and it is a glyphosate resistant water hemp population with a low level of PPO resistance also occurring within this population. This specific trial is evaluating the XtendFlex soybean system. So really what we want to do today is look at these treatments. There's 16 total treatments here, all really using the same products but just in different sequences, and really showing off the versatility of the XtendFlex soybean system. So today is August 6th when we're filming this, and as of today the XtendFlex soybeans still have not received approval from the EU, and thus at this point they are not commercially available and will not be commercially available until that approval comes through. So the hope is that by the 2021 growing season these will be available to you, and certainly we hope it's available due to, again, the uncertainty of post-emergence dicamba labels going into next season. So and this is all as of today, August 6, 2020. So by the time this video is watched, some of these things may have changed, and we certainly hope that one that changes is that these XtendFlex soybeans are available to you, because here at UK at the University of Kentucky, we do believe this is going to be a good system. It offers a lot more versatility by having that glufosinate option or Liberty option, and will be a system that, in our opinion, will compete a lot better with the current Enlist system that many Kentucky growers are looking at or already have transitioned to. So again, the XtendFlex soybeans, these soybeans were planted on June 12th. The pre-emerge application went on that same day. This was a no-till field. We treated it as a stale seed bed or as a conventional till field. So what we did is we came in really early in the season, in late April, early May, and burned it down with glyphosate and 2,4-D just to get rid of all the winter annuals, and then came back at planting with gramoxone, so a non-residual product, cleaned up any water hemp that had emerged and did a really good job of that, and then put down our pre. So starting off really clean with this. You'll notice some of these aren't true burn downs, but we use that gramoxone to burn that down. Here's your untreated check. You can see there lots of water hemp in there, and again, to going back to the dates here, these were planted on June 12th. Again, that gramoxone application went on that date, as well as the pre-emerge herbicides that are on here. And then there's an early post and a late post on this, and the early post went on July 9th, and the late post went on July 21st. So July 9th would have been 4 weeks after the planting and pre, and then July 21st would have been 6 weeks, and we are 14 days after that late post application, and 4 weeks out from this early post application. So again, today is August 6th. Okay, here's your first treatment, XtendMax or dicamba in that pre. Again, this wasn't a true burn down, but if it was, that's one thing about these Xtend beans. It's great is you can apply that dicamba at planting and plant right into it. Warrant, that's your acetochlor, and Mahler, which is metribuzin. So getting two effective sites of action, a group 15 and a group 5, in there in our pre-application, and coming back with XtendMax, PowerMax, and Warrant. So a really good program, treating these really as true Xtend beans. No Liberty in this treatment, and overall very clean treatment. We won't spend too much time down in these soybeans, but it is a clean plot using two residuals up front, or two actives in your pre-emerge residual, and coming back and layering over more Warrant. That's going to be a program that gives you really good control of water hemp here. Again, really treating those as true Xtend beans. Okay, and then here we're looking at XtendMax, Warrant, and Mahler again early, and then coming back later with Liberty and Roundup and Warrant. Again, laying over more residual with that Warrant, getting some good residual in there with the Warrant and the Mahler, a group 15 and a group 5, and taking advantage of the fact that we can apply the dicamba at planting. So if this was a no-till system, that would be a real advantage of being able to use dicamba right in front of your soybeans, and In some of our scenarios here in Kentucky, this is what we're going to recommend what you do is come in early with your dicamba when off-target movement is not as much of an issue. We don't have as many sensitive plants around at that time. Then come back later and take advantage of that Liberty and Roundup availability post-emergence, but still laying in there that warrant to continue to keep us our good weed control in there with that Group 15. So again, a very good looking plot. I will mention with that Liberty Warrant Roundup combination, Warrant itself does pucker up leaves pretty good, or does a really good job of puckering up a few soybean leaves. Adding in the Liberty really enhances it a little bit, but overall that injury is not causing us any yield loss. We want that combination in there. Okay, so here you have that XtendFlex, Warrant, and Muller, and then again in your pre, and coming back with Liberty and Warrant. So dropping that glyphosate out of there, and the reason a person might do that is we have seen some instances where you might get a little antagonism having those two. In this particular field, we didn't see that antagonism event occur. And the one thing with this system is we may miss a few grasses because we do know Liberty is not real great on them, but at the same time you do have Warrant early and late, so that's going to pick up as far as the residual goes, is going to do a good job against those grasses. And so this system again is a really good system, taking advantage of having that Liberty available to you post emergence. Okay, we'll keep moving on here. Just adding on to that, that Xtend, Warrant, and Muller early, and then coming back with Liberty and Warrant, and again Liberty late on that. So an early post and a late post to clean things up. In this particular trial, we didn't necessarily need that other post application, but it's still nice to have there at your disposal if you do need it. So just adding a little bit more to that there. A 3-pass program with this one, with lots of good residual, not only in your pre, but in your post. Okay. Moving all along, here we have XtendFlex, Warrant, and Muller again as your pre-emerge, coming back early post with Roundup Power Max and Warrant Ultra. So Warrant Ultra is going to be acetochlor and fomesafen or Flexstar. So that's going to, if you have PPO sensitive water hemp, that fomesafen is going to help you out with your post-emergence application, but it's also going to give you a little bit of residual as well. That's what the fomesafen brings to the table. Of course, if you have PPO resistant pigweed, as we do have a low level of that here in this population, it's not going to give you the post control, but you still might get a little residual out of it. And on this one, they came back post with Liberty, so to clean up, if we did have any misses with that Warrant Ultra, cleaning up with that, and obviously the Roundup Power Max is just helping us out with all of the other weeds. So again, a program that looks really good. Not a lot of escapes in here. All of these plots within this trial are all very clean. It's really quite difficult to find water hemp in any of these plots. So again, we're really just showing you the versatility of this these XtendFlex soybeans and all the different combinations we can use. Okay, so we're moving into systems here where we've taken the XtendFlex out of the pre and just using Warrant and Muller as our residuals, so treating them more of a conventional till system, not having that XtendFlex in there, just true pre's into Warrant and Muller there, and then coming back post-emergence with the XtendFlex, Power Max, and Warrant. So treating these really as Xtend beans, not using any glufosinate, but still getting a lot of good residual on the ground. And even with that, we still get really good control, and a lot of that we're going to attribute to that really good residual program with the residuals early, 2 actives early, 2 effective active ingredients early, and coming back and laying over more Warrant on that. Okay, and then here, same program, but what we added on to here is just, again, looking at a little bit of versatility there by being able to apply that Liberty in your late post application. So again, on this particular field, just having that pre and early post did a really good job for us. But showing the versatility of the ability that if you needed to come back with another post application, we can do it with Liberty and really do quite a good job. So we'll kind of walk all the way through this plot here. Again, just showing you kind of the versatility that these soybeans bring, a very clean plot. As we walk by here, there's the other untreated check, again, just to give you an idea of how dense of a population of water hemp we have here at this site. So we'll walk on back here and look at our second tier of treatments on this one. And so what we're looking at here is you have, again, Warrant and Muller early, came back with early post of XtendFlex and Warrant, and then put on our PowerMax post. So the reason we would do this is if we are having concerns with likely grass control issues. We do know our colleagues to the south of us are struggling at times when they combine their PowerMax or their glyphosate and their dicamba together. They're struggling with their grasses. So with this, what we're doing is they're pulling apart that application, putting on the dicamba early to take care of any water hemp that's escaped that are early residual, and then coming back with the glyphosate, in this case 2 weeks later, and applying that by itself to clean up any of those grasses that we need. Again, with the amount of Warrant going in here, we may not have a whole lot, but it's still there to help us clean it up. That's what glyphosate's still bringing to the table. And a lot of our systems in Kentucky, it's still helping out, but we can't rely on it too heavily because we do know many of our neighbors are starting to find glyphosate-resistant grasses. So moving on here. Here's Warrant and Muller coming back early post with the XtendFlex Warrant, and then coming back later, 2 weeks later, with Liberty and Roundup PowerMax. So in this case, just adding Liberty to that late post. So in a situation where we missed some water hemp with that early post of XtendFlex, that Liberty is going to help us clean it up. And again, taking that PowerMax and pulling it away from that XtendFlex if we're having some antagonism issues with that, or we want to, if we want to try to get away from those low drift nozzles that the XtendFlex requires. That's another possibility of why we're missing some of those grasses, is because we're using those low drift nozzles, and being able to pull it apart helps us out. And again, with this particular treatment, adding in the Liberty helps us pick up any other pigweeds that may be out there, and helps us pick up those glyphosate resistant weeds out there. So this is a program where we're kind of really showing off the flexibility of these soybeans and putting everything in there across 3 different applications. But at the same time, the most important thing is we're putting a lot of residual down both pre and in that early post, and that's with all of these, and that's what we want to see our farmers doing. Okay, moving along here. Here's Warrant and Muller. Pre came back with XtendFlex Warrant, and then post with Liberty alone. Okay, so we saw that, or the last two, that we're just changing up what's coming in late. So with 2 plots ago, we had Roundup. The last one was Liberty and Roundup, and this one is just Liberty. So on this particular site, they're all fairly equivalent. We're still getting good control of our water hemp with dicamba at this site, and the Liberty is only adding to it. And without a lot of grass pressure at this site, it's really hard to show where we might see differences with either with or without that glyphosate in the tank and separating it out from that XtendFlex or dicamba application. But again, really just trying to show all the different combinations you can use on these soybeans, and all the different timing combinations. Okay, here we have Warrant and Muller pre, and coming back early post with Liberty and Roundup PowerMax. So in this particular system, or this particular treatment, again, and Warrant in that early post, again, keeping a really good residual package overall by using two effective sites of action early, and then coming back later with another group 15, or not another, but more Warrant or more group 15, but really treating these as if they don't have dicamba tolerance. So they obviously still do have the dicamba tolerance, but taking advantage of the fact that we can apply Liberty. And this would be something we would do if we were in a scenario where we just really shouldn't be applying that dicamba because there's concern of off-target movement, or we have neighboring crops both in the spring and the summer that we're concerned about having off-target damage to. And again, that's what the XtendFlex soybeans bring to the table, is a lot more versatility as compared to the Roundup Ready 2 Xtend soybeans, where we're kind of pinned or married to dicamba as our post-emergence option. Okay, moving on and kind of continuing that thing. Here's again Warrant and Muller pre, coming back just with Liberty and Warrant, taking the glyphosate out of there, And I'd say if there's anything that this one might struggle with is if we had any late season grass escapes, that Liberty, if it has a weakness, that's going to be its weaknesses against grasses. But with the amount of warrant that's going down here, we would expect to suppress most of those grasses with that acetochlor. But there's still the potential there. So that might be the one fallacy. It's hard to really show you that in this particular trial, again, because we don't have a lot of grass pressure. But again, just showing you some versatility here. Okay, looking at some other combinations here. Here they have XtendFlex, and just getting away a little bit away from that Warrant and Muller combination is pre. Here we're using Warrant Ultra, and again, that's acetochlor and fomesafen. So that fomesafen does give you some residual activity, and then coming back early post with XtendFlex and PowerMax, and then putting down Warrant again as that layover residual, which we encourage those layover residuals. We really think those bring a lot to the table. But with this one, we're getting away from the metribuzin and using a group 14 with that Warrant rather than the metribuzin. So if you have some soybean varieties that may have some issues with metribuzin, this may be the route to go. Or if it's just another option within your residual package there, getting a group 14 and a group 15 in your pre, and then coming back with more Warrant there. So just looking at a little bit different of a residual package there. And then here we have XtendFlex and Warrant Ultra again looking at a little bit different of a residual package, but here not using any dicamba in that early in our post, rather just going with the Liberty and Roundup and Warrant. And again, just showing the flexibility of these soybeans and the ability, if we get ourselves into a situation or we have a neighbor plant a sensitive crop next to us and we don't want to be applying that dicamba, we have the option of that Liberty, and the Roundup's going in there as well to help out with all the other weeds or the grass weeds that may be out there. So again, this is XtendFlex soybeans, really just highlighting the flexibility that these soybeans are going to have. We're really encouraged by these soybeans, and we do hope that we get approval for them soon, as it just brings another tool to the toolbox when it comes down to controlling our glyphosate resistant weeds such as water hemp and palmer, and just bringing us a little bit more flexibility and versatility that the Roundup Ready 2 Xtend soybeans lack a little bit at this point in time. And as you notice with all of these, they all had full residual packages, and that's what we really are really pushing and really talking about is, despite the fact that you have two options now post-emergence, we still have to have full residual packages even when we get these soybeans to the market and available to our farmers.